Well, hello and welcome to my latest video. Now, I had two ideas for videos today. One was about bike lights and one was about what's in my saddlebag, and I thought I'd do a kind of poll as to which people preferred. And then I thought, actually, I can't be asked to do that. So I contacted my mate Stuart and I said, Stuart, what do you think I should do? And he said, do one about lights because it's like winter time and darkness and so forth, and that'd be quite useful to people. And I said, thanks, mate, I'll do the one about saddlebag. And then I thought, I know, why don't I do both videos and then I can do a kind of poll of people to see which video people prefer to watch. I thought, bingo. So if I can get like 82 views for the saddlebag one and I get, I don't know, 87 views for the lights one, then I'll know that the lights one is more popular, or is it that the saddlebag one is least popular. Anyway, if you look somewhere on my channel, you will find a video about my bike lights. So this video is going to be about what I carry in my saddlebag. Now, here is a saddlebag. This happens to be by a company called Lizard Skins, and every time I go out on my bike I like to carry the same set of items in my saddlebag. So let's go through what I carry. Now, the first thing is, if you get a puncture, or if you feel a need to do some kind of open heart surgery on a sheep that you might have knocked down, or you just like riding in latex, which I know some of you do, then a nice box of latex gloves always comes in useful. I like to take the whole box in case I come across, I don't know, some kind of dogging site or something, and people say, you haven't got any latex gloves, mate. And then I can say, yeah, of course I have, and I can sell them to all the local doggers. And I bet you haven't seen Julian wear latex gloves for a long time, not since you saw it. Anyway, let's get away from that. So there, a nice box of latex gloves always comes with me in the saddlebag. Next item is I like to carry a book, because you go for a ride, you stop for a cup of coffee, you've got nobody to talk to, or the people you have got to talk to are just really not interesting. So you think, I know, what I'll do is I'll take a book. Now the book, this isn't the book I always take, but this is the book that I happen to be reading at the moment, which incidentally is called Khartoum, the Ultimate Imperial Adventure, because you know what an ardent Brexiteer I am, and one of my great heroes is Major General, I think, Charles Gordon, who was killed at Khartoum. And this is about the British Imperial expedition in the Sudan, and it's by a gentleman called Michael Asher, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's why I happen to be reading at the moment. I always take a book with me. Next item I take is, this is an Aeropress. So you're cycling along, you fancy a cup of coffee, you're too mean to stop at a cafe. So if you've got your own Aeropress, you can make a cup of coffee. And if your mate Stuart, or my mate Stuart rather, has sent you some of his home roastery coffee beans, then you can use them, or I can use them, to make a nice cup of coffee in the Aeropress. Now, unfortunately, although I've got an Aeropress, and although I've got the beans, I haven't got a grinder. So what I like to do is I kind of put them, I find a suitable kind of flat stone, and then I get my shoe, I take my shoe off, and I go boom, 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 and I crush the beans into a fine powder. Then I can put them into my Aeropress, and then I can get myself a really nice cup of coffee. So what else do I carry? I carry this cap. Now, this is what I call my fucking Peaky Blinders cap. Right now, if you've ever watched Peaky Blinders, which I haven't, incidentally, so my accent could be completely useless, and probably is, then you will recognise what a fucking Peaky Blinders cap is. So if I happen to be going anywhere near Birmingham, that's if. Do you know anyone who's been to Birmingham? Do you know anybody who comes from Birmingham? Do you know anybody who has any plans to go to Birmingham? Well, I certainly don't. But if I were to go, well, obviously they're all kind of, villains and crooks and Peaky Blinders fans. So I like to carry my cap with me. So that always goes in the saddlebag. What else goes? Well, you're cycling along, right? And you come across some cyclists, or some cyclists come past you, right? And they kind of go past you and they look at you and they think you're a shit cyclist. So what I do is I say, you know what this is, mate? You know what this is? Twat. You know what this is? This is a Land's End to Jonah medal, because yes, I have undertaken the cycling pilgrimage known as Le Jog or Lee Jog, and that is Land's End to John O'Groats. So up yours. And it's also useful if you meet a young lady, well, not necessarily a young lady, just a lady at the coffee stop, and you want to sort of, you're sitting there, both of you, in your lycra, and see, I just go like, I like that, see, I like that. And she says, what's that? I said, what, this? Oh, it's a Le Jog medal. And she says, Le Jog, what's that? And you say, well, it's Land's End to John O'Groats, the cycle. And she says, you've done Land's End John O'Groats. Come and sit at my table. Let's chat a bit. So the Land's End John O'Groats medal, if you haven't got one because you haven't done this, you haven't done this particularly pilgrimage, well then you can get it from my website. Actually, you can't get it from my website because I've discontinued my website. But if I did still have a website, you could buy one of these from my website for €497, and then you could impress the ladies when you stop at the coffee shop yourself. Now, the other thing is, I sometimes cycle on the continent, as we call it, or Europe, or my natural home, or I'm just, again, want to impress other cyclists. Cyclists who know a bit more about cycling than just those who've heard of Le Jog. And that is the Sanglé. What is the Sanglé? The Sanglé is 3 ascents of Mont Ventoux, yes, Mont Ventoux in Provence, I'm talking about that, in the space of 24 hours. And I think I did it within about 12 hours, just under 12 hours actually, and you get a card, a certificate. So I carry this with me, and I might sit at the cafe like this. See, I've got my medal in one hand, I've got this in the other hand, and a cyclist might lean over, probably some kind of Rafa or Castelli or Assos kind of wanker or something, and they'll say, well, what's that then? It's a Sanglé. And they said, well, you've done the Sanglé. And you say, yeah, it's all right, not too bad, I'll recommend it to anyone. Another way to read ladies are always impressed when you say you've done the Sanglé. So that's that. The other thing is, I have a tendency to get punctures, but because I've got different bikes and I've got different tyre sizes on my bikes, I never know what size inner tube I'm going to need for that particular ride. So what I like to do is I carry a box of inner tubes. This is a tube a litre. This is useless, by the way. So I've got different sized inner tubes. I've got also different length valves. Some are short valves, some are medium valves, some are long valves. How important the length of your valve is. And that means if I'm using my deep section carbon wheels like a proper cyclist, then I've got the long valve version. If I'm just using, I don't know, a pair of ordinary shit wheels, then I've got short valve tubes. So a nice big collection of inner tubes, always important when you're going on a bike ride. We're nearly coming to an end now. Obviously, if you're going on a bike ride, the likelihood is you're going to have some mechanical problem. And if you're really unlucky, like I am, you're going to have a great, big, massive mechanical problem. The whole bike's going to fall apart. So it's quite useful to carry something like this, the Zen and the Art of Road Bike Maintenance. Okay, I think that's a kind of, would you call it a pun or a pastiche on Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which was one of those books, right? Along with Carlos Castaneda. Do you remember Carlos Castaneda and what was it? It was about taking drugs. It was in the kind of late 70s, early 80s. Everybody read it. It was rubbish, absolute rubbish. The same as Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. So I like to take Zen and the Art of Road Bike Maintenance. If I'm expecting like a long ride, maybe I'm going on an Audax or a 100k ride or something like that, then I like to take the Park Tool book. This is called the Big Blue Book of Bicycle Repair, and only works if your bike is blue. But luckily enough, I have a blue Molten, I have a blue Mason, so I'm okay with that. In fact, I've got a blue Fairlight as well. All my bikes are blue except for the ones that aren't. So carrying the Big Blue Book of Park Bicycle Repair is very useful in case you have a problem. And again, you can sit at the cafe like this, and another cyclist might come along, but a lady cyclist might come along and they say, oh, I've got a little problem with my bike. And they say, oh, I've got the book. It's a good way. And of course, now I'm talking about meeting ladies because I'm a gentleman, of course, but you might be a lady who wants to meet a gentleman, or you might be a gentleman who wants to meet other gentlemen. You might be a lady who wants to meet other ladies. It doesn't matter. The book trick works. Trust me. The Le Jog medal works. Trust me. The Sanglé medal works. Trust me. It all works. And Lastly, coming to an end now, I like to carry a Bluetooth speaker, and I strap this to my handlebars using some Velcro straps or some zip ties or some elastic bands or some string, or even an old inner tube, whatever happens to be around. And then I can blast out really loud, irritating kind of Brexit anthems, which really annoys people when you're riding along. And of course, that's the most important thing. The other thing I like to carry, right? You see this jacket, which you often see me wearing, which I accept is rather filthy, it's rather worn, it's rather outdated, although I do like it. And one of the reasons that I like it is that I invested £1,000 into the company that make this jacket, which is called Vulpine, by the way. And then Vulpine went broke and it took my £1,000 with me. So that when I wear this jacket to kind of remind me of a time when I had a spare £1,000 to invest in a business that then subsequently goes broke and takes all my money downhill with it. So the jacket kind of reminds me of happy times, it reminds me of sad times. And I also find it quite comforting, quite warm. So I always put that in the saddlebag as well. Now you're saying to yourself, Julian, do you think we're idiots? Do you think that we believe that you can get all of that stuff into your saddlebag? Of course you can't. And I'm going to say, well, no, you're quite right, guys. So I always take one of these. And this is what's known as a carrier bag. But I actually got this carrier bag from IKEA, and I bought this especially. I went into IKEA with all that kind of stuff that I had for my saddlebag, and I said, have you got a bag that can carry all of this? And they said, yes, sir. Why don't we get one of these? I don't know what it's called. Maybe called carrier bag, maybe called something else. I mean, if it's IKEA, they've usually got some Swedish name, like Flumbud. It's a Flumbud bag, okay? So if you go into IKEA and you say, have you got one of those Flumbud bags that Julian always uses because it seems to be really good? And they'll say, yes, of course, sir. We carry a big stock of the Flumbud bags. It's designed by Agneta Fledskog, who of course was in ABBA and has a subsequent career designing carrier bags for IKEA. And that's what I carry in my saddlebag. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy the lights video, give it some thumbs up. If you enjoy both videos, give them both a thumbs up, and we'll see which one is the most popular. So thanks for watching and see you next time.